There is a small street in Bay City, Michigan called Satkoviak Drive.
Wow. And you want to drive there just to see what's on it?
No, it's a small residential street. And when I mean small, I mean we're talking like 8 houses on each side of this small street. I want to steal a street sign.
How far is this from you?
It is an hour and 45 minutes, which
Huh.
is kind of not worth. If it was closer, I would consider it. But also, it's such a small street, I don't think I could get away with it.
I'm certain they would see you do it. Yes. You could just, I don't know what you could do. Take a picture with it and smile and have the memory forever.
Frame the picture. There you
You could
go.
just Google Maps it and zoom in on it and see what it looks like.
Yeah, but the street sign would look so cool over my left shoulder here,
Make
taking
it
up that
make
uh,
it blink.
taking up that real estate with that disgusting Ohio State nonsense in the corner that Sam makes me hang up there. How are you tonight?
I'm good, man. It is exciting that week 4 is upon us. We've got a really interesting weekend, to be honest, in the Big Ten, but 3 games that I think hold most people's interest, both Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night. It's a bounce back time for Notre Dame, maybe. You get the Apple Cup. We get the Civil War, even though I don't think they call it the Civil War anymore. What is it, like the Platypus Cup or something?
I
They
have no
gave it
idea.
some other dumbass name because Civil War is not allowed anymore.
Clinton, the just to illustrate the ridiculousness of conference realignment, we have non-conference rivalry games between teams from Oregon, Indiana, and Washington this weekend, and meanwhile we have conference games between Maryland and Wisconsin and Michigan State and USC.
Hmm.
It's kind of ridiculous.
It's laughable the start time of Michigan State and USC that you and I will be working partially through our preview show, or not our preview show, our reaction show while that game's occurring. So that's the only bit I will be watching because I will be going to bed immediately after. Mr.
Um,
Satkoviak, how are
the
you?
well, I think the most ridiculous part about that game is that it's still going to be the first quarter and it's going to be Sunday in East Lansing.
Yeah,
That's insane. That's
it
just
sucks for
absurd.
those people.
I fucking hate the TV networks that made this happen. What a joke.
Yep.
College football, everyone.
And watch, it could turn out to be the best game of the weekend, and no one's going to see it because we're all going to be in bed. No one in California is going to watch it either.
Yeah, no kidding. They're begging people to go to the game.
Yeah, I remember that from Monday. So, how are you?
Oh, just happy to be here. I'm ready for. Ooh, somebody replied to our that pick'em tweet. They highlighted all of our picks and said whoever this is the closest to accurate.
Hey,
Good
there we
for us.
go. Good
Good
for
for us.
us. Shout out to us.
Happy Doc Vol Day. That's whatever. I don't know who you are. Um, I wouldn't toot your horn though because I've been anything but close to accurate this year. I am poor.
Yeah, this is all Ryan's picks this week. Clinton had an interview yesterday, and I was too busy to do it. So,
Yeah, we're not going to talk about my Thursday night football bet that is quickly going up in smoke right now. Anyway, big games this weekend, guys. This is technically, well, it's not technically the start of conference play because we've gotten a couple of them, but it's really the official start of conference play. We have count them, 5 Big Ten games this weekend, and all of them carry some level of confidence. Obviously, they're all important games, but the big one of the weekend, the Battle of the Eyes. I am very excited for this game, Clinton. It's nice to have this game mean something, but
don't forget our sound.
let's get into it.
Are you ready? These are inside the Pylons picks of the week.
Every time I look over my shoulder at this stupid football game, another Buffalo player is streaking down the sidelines for a first
Also,
down.
I've never heard of the player Shavers, by the way. So, whoever pulled him out of their ass, don't know where that came from. That's fantasy irrelevant there.
I could probably pick him up for my Dynasty League team because half my team is dead and on IR right now.
Yeah, I have no idea where this guy came from, but he's rocking the old Stephon Diggs jersey. So, there we go.
The Battle of the Eyes in Bloomington, 7:30 p.m. NBC Saturday night. very fitting this game gets a primetime game. I'm excited about that. Illinois at Indiana. The Hoosiers are a 5.5-point favorite. This line has moved around a little bit. I don't actually know what it is right now. It was 5.5 when I looked at it yesterday. Both of these teams 3-0. Technically, Clinton, if you are going by, I think it was it was either SP Plus or ESPN's FPI. Indiana's actually technically played the toughest individual game so far. I think Old Dominion is a couple spots higher than Duke. So both of these teams relatively untested at this point in the season, with one okay game and a couple of cupcakes. So not sure how much we can glean from kind of the past results. And you know what they say about rivalry games, Clinton, just throw the record out. But this is going to be a very informative game in the Big Ten this season, with these two teams kind of being in that second tier of teams that very likely could make playoff noise if they win this game for sure, but kind of on that fringe right below that contender tier. So someone's going to be looking to separate themselves a little bit in this one.
Yeah, definitely excited for this matchup. We talked about with Sonny in our fall preview, the anticipation of this game. And if you guys didn't see, Sonny gave us a nice little brief preview, about 20 minutes on Monday's episode. So if you want to hit that, probably about the first 25 minutes of our episode, you can check that out. I also have a tweet, if I can get it out soon, of a clip with his prediction. So that could also make your life simpler. But anyways, massive game, 7:30. I about had a panic attack today when I was just looking over the schedule and I just saw Peacock next to it. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me. There's no way that this game would only be on Peacock. That is the disservice to football. And then it's on NBC. But you can also watch it on Peacock. I don't know why you would do that. But anyways, it's on NBC. The Rock is sold out. I can only imagine how juiced the Indiana fans are for this game, and likewise for the Illinois fans who make the trip. But I can't imagine a time in my life where I ever anticipated an Illinois versus Indiana matchup this much. And I've lived in Big Ten country all 33 years, and I've never been this excited for one of their matchups.
Honestly, Clinton, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't know that I've ever registered one of these matchups in my entire life.
No, I mean, I'm sure I've flipped something on in the middle of a commercial, but we've talked about this. Illinois and Indiana fans for so long would pine just for a bowl game, and now they are potentially a playoff dark horse with this game. And just generally at the schedule, if Illinois can get through this, Ohio State remains their biggest test left, and if they have the easier path to winning out and finishing maybe in 11-1 versus Indiana, who still has test with Iowa, Penn State, and Oregon, and I believe Iowa is next week for Indiana, right? So this could very well be, I don't want to say do or die for them, but if they lose this one, it's a lot more daunting the next 3 weeks on the importance of winning.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the interesting subplot to this, is just kind of that big picture discussion. Because, I mean, we talked a little bit on Monday about what Indiana has coming up immediately after this game. Obviously, Kinnick is no easy place to play, particularly after a game of this magnitude. And then coming out of a bye week, even though you have the bye week, having to go to Oregon, we know about the time zone thing, but also it's Oregon, who's been really good this year.
Rolling.
That's going to be a challenging matchup. You still have at Penn State on this schedule, but other than those three games, the rest of their games aren't too bad. But the Illinois schedule too, Clinton, I think we're kind of glossing over a little bit how sneaky it could potentially be, because after this they play USC, and it is at home, and that will be USC's second trip in 3 weeks out east. So who knows the kind of jet lag you accumulate with that. And I mean, they weren't fantastic against Purdue. They were fine, but weird game, rain delay, 3 hours. I don't think that's a game that we're going to be able to glean a whole lot from. And for USC, they're off this week, or no, they play at Michigan. They play Michigan State. Jesus, sorry. So I mean, a tough-ish game, but also a game they should win. So that's certainly not an easy rebound for Illinois either. We know the Ohio State game, but after their bye week after Ohio State, they have to go play at Washington. Again, the time zone thing, and a Washington team that in the Big Ten has been much better at home than they have been on the road. So another challenging contest there that could potentially be a loss. I mean, the rest of the schedule is not exactly rife with landmines after that, but I think it's probably short-sighted of us or anyone to say, well, if Illinois gets through this game, then they only have Ohio State left, because I don't know that Illinois has earned the benefit of the doubt to say that they're definitely going to be a favorite to beat USC and Washington on the road.
Certainly. We'll see how Michigan State's offensive line, not Michigan, USC's offensive line.
Oh, Clinton, we got to stop.
Shanked it. Nice job.
Woo! Go Dolphins!
See how they deal with a Big Ten opponent this week, because we know Illinois' defensive line caused a lot of problems with Duke. So that'll be something to dive into later in the show, but also next week. But, ITP game of the week. This is exciting. Number 9, Illinois. Number 19, Indiana. Ryan, are you ready to get into the keys?
Let's go for it. You want to start us off?
Let's start us off. I'm going to start with the visiting team first, the Illinois Fighting Illini.
What did you just say?
I don't know. Illinois, Sonny talked about this. They need to get off to a fast start. Indiana has too much firepower on offense for Illinois to try to dig out of a hole early. If Illinois starts slow and Indiana jumps on top of them and gets up 14, 17, 21, nothing, I don't know if Illinois can get themselves out of that very easily. It's certainly possible if you can manage some turnovers the way you did on the road against Duke, but do not start yourself in a hole, Illinois. Second key for Illinois, do not turn the ball over. Illinois is yet to turn the ball over in 3 games, Ryan, but they're going to have a packed house full of Indiana fans that are going to be ready to explode through the roof if the Illini have a turnover or a big play go against them. They have to continue taking care of the ball with an important matchup like this on the road. Illinois, key number 3, they need to continue their stout run D. The Illinois defense is only allowing 74.6 rushing yards per game through their first 3. It will be a very tall task, Ryan, because Indiana averages, get ready, hold your socks on for this, 307.7 rushing yards per game.
That's
I know they have
played
nothing but children of the poor, but that's a shit ton of rushing yards, man.
Sure
My
is.
God. So Illinois is going to have to be able to contain this rushing game in order to stay in the game, because if Indiana can find explosive plays in the pass game or on the ground. All right, Indiana, you got to protect and give Mendoza time. He has no interceptions thrown on the season, and the O-line has only allowed 1 sack. But what you and I talked about in those first 2 games is Indiana gave up a lot of pressure on him, which kind of affected his rhythm. Looked better last week. Illinois has 10 sacks in 3 games, and they absolutely rattled Duke's quarterback, Darian Mensah, forced him 1 interception, and then got 4 fumbles off of him. If Indiana's O-line, we talked about the addition of the depth and the changes they made. They struggled in their big games last year with Ohio State and Notre Dame. Illinois obviously is not Ohio State or Notre Dame from 2024, but they are a ranked team who looks like they have improved pass rush. Indiana's got to protect them. Indiana, you got to pressure Altmaier. They lead the nation, Indiana does, with 11 tackles for loss, and they have 8 sacks on the season. So guys like Michael Kamara will be a key in this game at generating pressure. Last one for the Hoosiers, hit the big play, man. Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt, a.k.a. Waffle House, can change the game in a hurry. So you got to find ways to get them in space that will have the potential to bust a home run play. We saw that with Cooper last week, right? He went over 200 yards. One of them was extremely big, kind of cross the field play. So let Sig cook. Let the offensive staff get the players into position for big plays. Those are my 3 keys, a la 3 per team for the game.
Did you just say they lead the nation in tackles for a loss with 11?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that leads the nation.
That is what ESPN said today.
Texas A&M had 8 against Notre Dame.
Maybe they didn't have any before that.
Well, I don't believe this. Now I'm going to fact check this, Clint. I'm fact checking you live on the air right now,
You should
motherfucker.
fact check me, but mostly fact check ESPN for their statement.
Well, this is what you get for reading things uncritically. You fool. You buffoon. Hold on. We're going to check this out here. Texas A&M. Yeah, they had 9 against UTSA. That's at least 17. You
Okay.
wrong. You wrong, motherfucker.
Maybe it meant to say leads the Big Ten. with
Maybe it's 11 per.
tackles for loss.
Maybe it's 11 per game. I don't actually.
So then
know.
they'd have 33.
I mean,
Quite a few TFLs.
yeah, I feel like they had a lot. Hold on. Yeah, listen, this is bad radio, but I'm fact checking you live on the air right now. Yeah, they had 3 against Old Dominion. Okay. I feel like they had a shitload against Indiana State. Then they had 14 alone against Kennesaw. That's 17.
Somebody did not do math correctly then.
Hold on. Well, maybe they did. Hold on. Maybe you just read it wrong. Yeah, then they had 16 against Indiana State, so they're averaging 11 per game.
Okay. There you go.
All right, so you were wrong. You're just not right.
Was right, but not wrong, and right, but not wrong. Whatever.
Yeah.
They're averaging 11 TFLs per game, and they have 8 sacks on the season.
That sounds more daunting. There we go. We got to the bottom of it, and I agree with that key to the game because against Duke, they got to Luke Altmaier 4 times, and if you get in his face early, you force him to make mistakes. You can force him to be maybe a little ineffective, but again, he's protected the ball well this year. And I mean, I hate the cliche. Whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win the game because, I mean, no shit, more often than not that happens. But in a game that's kind of close on the margins in this one, whoever creates more havoc, whoever has the higher pressure rate, more often than not will have more sacks. You'll force the other quarterback into making mistakes. That's how you win a game like this. And the first thing I wrote down too here, Clinton, for Illinois, the key is to start early because IU's been a little bit more explosive this year. They're really, again, I get the competition the last 2 weeks has not been good, but they've really honed in the pass game. And with the emergence of Omar Cooper alongside Elijah Surratt, you can't just focus on one guy now, right? You kind of got to be a little bit cognizant of both guys. Plus, you have the running game. So that's going to be a challenge. And in this game for Illinois, equally as important, if you get down early, that's going to kind of self-limit your ability to run. And I think the stat I heard today on the Solid Verbal was Indiana is something like 100th in the country in rushing yards allowed before contact. So you can run on them. If that's the Brett Bielema thing, right? Like they haven't been fantastic running the ball this year. They've been fine. This feels like a game where you're going to want to lean on the run. Keep that explosive Indiana offense off the field. Protect your defense. And Indiana's shown that, they're not as impenetrable in that run defense as they were last year. But for IU,
maybe poor at math, but the 75-yard TD run by ODU's quarterback late in the game when he was untouched might have affected that stat just slightly.
Potentially. Probably. It all counts, though.
You can't let a quarterback run for 75 yards untouched.
It all counts, though. But then the other thing for Indiana is you got to stay on schedule in this game. You mentioned, only 1 sack allowed, but when you're playing the teams that they've played, you should not be allowing sacks anyway. You kind of mentioned just subjectively watching and seeing the pressure. The bad news is, as good as Indiana's been on defense, Illinois might have the best defensive player in this game with Gabe Yakas. That's a guy who can be a game record 3.5 sacks on the season if you let him get in your backfield. Not only rattle Fernando Mendoza, but get you behind the sticks, force you to be a little bit more one-dimensional than you want to be. That's not a key to the game. That's not a good thing there either, man. So I'm excited to watch this game. I think it's 2 pretty evenly matched teams. I think 2 teams that are a little bit different in terms of their strengths overall. Not quite like clashing styles or anything like that, right? This isn't Texas Tech playing Wisconsin or anything like that. But I think different enough that this is going to be a fascinating game to see kind of how it plays out. What is your head telling you on this one?
I like Illinois minus 5.5. I'm sorry, Illinois plus 5.5. But Indiana wins the game.
I think that's kind of where I'm lying on this one too, because that's a lot of points. I think they're 2 evenly matched teams. I think where's Tua going? That was a CTE. No, that was a CTE play. I think these teams are kind of neck and neck here. I could definitely see a situation where maybe an early turnover by Illinois kind of turns this into a little bit more of a track meet than maybe they want it to be in. And if that's what this game becomes, I like Indiana there. But I think they're going to try to keep the scoring down, keep the points down. I don't know what the over-under on this one is, but I might take a little coin on the under just in the event that Illinois is successful in shortening this game up. But I'm with you. I don't know that Illinois completely wins this one outright, but if you're going to give me 5.5 points in this game, I'm going to take it.
Should be a fantastic game. I know we talked about with Sonny that if it's a blowout, it's likely on the side that Indiana blows Illinois out. But my God, for the fact that both these teams are ranked in such an impactful game early, I hope it's a good game.
Well, before we move on, let me ask you this. Who do you think needs the big win more?
I think Signetti does.
I think I agree with that. I think
The Google me, I win big games, we kick top 25 teams' asses. Like, homie, you haven't done any of that yet at Indiana.
no, I think
You've looked like you are coaching a Sun Belt team, the two teams you played that were big time last year in Ohio State and Notre Dame. I hope I'm not Googling him to see if he punts in this game. So
yeah, I think Bielema's bought his team a little bit of credibility with the way they finished the season against South Carolina, which is kind of funny looking back in hindsight because South Carolina might be ass.
well, again, Lenore Sellers was dead in the Vandy game early and may not play this week. So
Well, they also
receivers suck.
well
Wide receivers
Vandy
suck.
also like demoralized their defense. That was supposed to be really good, but
Yep.
I think I'm with you. I think if Indiana loses this game, the narrative around Signetti and their inability to beat ranked teams, I think, is going to hit an apex point, and I would kind of feel bad for Indiana fans a little bit if that happened.
I think one could presume that if the right Indiana team shows up, in theory, you should probably railroad Iowa because they don't have an offense that can keep pace with you.
In theory, yep,
But if you lose this game, those vibes feel a lot different next week.
sure, for sure. This next portion I have labeled as contender or pretender. Clinton, whatever your name is. We have two games in this. 3:30 CBS. Also on Saturday, Michigan a 2.5-point favorite traveling to Nebraska. Even with a loss early in the season, Michigan is still technically undefeated in Big Ten play because they haven't played a Big Ten game yet. I guess Nebraska hasn't either, but this is a hell of an opener for both teams, and I think you can make an argument that whoever wins this game, maybe they're not on the same Illinois-Indiana level, but they certainly will assert themselves firmly in that second tier of teams who could be in contention for a conference title game appearance or even a kind of backdoor playoff appearance. So I know you've been kind of the one who's a little higher on Nebraska. Clinton, what are you looking for in this one?
So this one I only did 3 overall keys. So battle of the young quarterbacks, Dylan Raiola, Bryce Underwood. I kind of expect this game to be pretty close, and I think what it's going to come down to is which quarterback makes either the critical error or the game-changing play for his team. We saw Underwood utilize his legs last week, which could really open up the Michigan offense, especially if he's getting outside the pocket looking to pass, because we know their receivers are pretty lackluster. So that presents a whole new challenge for Nebraska in having to contain him. Then on the other side, though, man, Raiola is completing 76.6% of his passes, 8 TDs, and most importantly, Ryan, no interceptions. Again, the last 2 games have not been thoroughly impressive as far as opponent. The Cincinnati game, they played a hard-fought, close game with Cincinnati. Still no turnovers in that game. Michigan's defense is going to be tough with Wink Martindale leading it.
Yep.
They're going to try to confuse Raiola. Can the Raiola-Holgerson combo and the game being at home, and essentially, I don't think it'll be dark by time this game. I don't think we're far enough in fall for the game to be dark before it's
not yet.
But can they find a way to pull this game off at home? So which quarterback there for me, that'll kind of be the big key. The Huskers, key number 2, they must slow down the Michigan run game. Justice Haynes has been an absolute beast so far this year, man.
Yes.
He's rushed for over 100 yards in 3 straight games and is the Big Ten rushing leader with 388. Yes, that's as impressive as Jonah Coleman has been. He's only played 2 games. He's sitting at 288, I think. And then Michigan still feels like the boa constrictor offense, right? Like they're just going to squeeze the life out of you by the 4th quarter, and there's just not a damn thing you can do about it. So Nebraska's got to find a way to contain this run game. Last key here, when I wrote this one up, it makes sense, but it kind of doesn't to me. Anyways, I'm rolling with it. Nebraska's pass defense, they've not allowed more than 69 yards in a game yet, Ryan. They are currently ranked #1 pass defense in the country. We know Michigan's wide receiver group is ass. They're the worst position group on their team. Can the Huskers defense continue to lock these guys down? And the reason where I thought that it makes sense, like lock them down, they suck, Clinton. Yes, but Bryce Underwood has a cannon of an arm. If they get behind your defense, Underwood can make the throw to burn you. So you need to shut them down, and maybe you're able just to run man against them, and then allow everybody else to stack the box to stop this run game. You got to have a lot of reliance on your DBs here to trust that you can stack the box to stuff this run game, which will be no easy feat because Michigan runs the ball as good as anybody in the country. Ryan, your keys.
Well, I would also like to point out, too, that you mentioned that Nebraska has not allowed a passer to eclipse 69 yards this year. I get their last two opponents have been terrible, but I think they kind of shut down Brendan Sorsby so bad with Cincinnati that I just assumed that he was hot garbage. And I mean, I get it was then Bowling Green and Northwestern State, but he now has 655 passing yards through 3 games.
He's balling.
He's gone for almost 300 a game in the last 2 games. 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. Again, against G5 and FCS competition. But
and their matchup was week 1, so week 1 tends to favor defenses over offenses. But
Yep.
he clearly can sling the rock, and Nebraska did a pretty dang good job. And the last time we saw Underwood on the road in a big game, it's not like he looked phased, but the passing was not on point. So I believe he was, 9 of 24 or something in that game. Missed some passes.
13 of 25, I think.
13 of 25, and then obviously receivers obviously not making plays. So it's a mix of both. But what are your thoughts on the keys for this one, Ryan?
Well, I think the biggest key in this one is who steps up out wide. You know, we talked a lot in the offseason about the moves that Nebraska made in the transfer portal at the wide receiver position. And they brought back Ja'Cory Barney. He's been really good this year. And Isaiah Hunter and Dane Key, I think, have been as advertised. Key, 13 catches, 190 yards through 3 games. Hunter, 11 catches for 163 yards. So all 3 of those guys, Clinton, averaging, if my math is correct, about 4 receptions and somewhere around, Jesus, I can't do this math right now. Like between 40 and 50 yards a game, 40 and 60 yards a game. On the Michigan side, the only receiver with double-digit catches and more than 120 receiving yards is Donovan McCulley. He's got 10 for 158. So I know Marlon Klein did not play against Oklahoma, and he'd probably have some improved numbers. Who just scored for Miami?
Ollie Gordon.
Fuck!
No, Jalen Waddle.
Oh, also fuck! I need A-Chain to score. Someone else for Michigan has to make a play. And even McCulley's kind of got to take his game to the next level here, right? He, I mean, he had a pretty game against Oklahoma, but they're going to need someone else to step up out wide. You cannot beat this Nebraska defense with just kind of one guy. Do they do some of that kind of orbital motion stuff to get Samaj Morgan moving laterally before the snap? Is Marlon Klein back and healthy in this one? Do they try to get the running backs a little bit more involved? Justice Haynes has 6 catches, but only 17 yards through 3 games. Jordan Marshall only has 1 catch, so they're not really getting the running backs involved in the pass game here. And when you've run the ball as effectively as you need to, I think that's probably fine. But again, other than Oklahoma, they have not really played anyone to start the season. With Nebraska, protect the football. You've done a very good job of doing that so far this season. But where did you, when you got in trouble last year, why? It was because you were throwing interceptions and fumbling. So protect the football in this one. Protect your quarterback. Keep him upright. You've done a very good job of that so far this year. Continue it in this one, and I think that Nebraska fans will probably be pretty happy with this game. But I had one other key, and I forgot to write it down, Clinton. I'm not going to lie. That's not good radio on my part. But I guess it's kind of building off the Bryce Underwood point with the rush game. How much do they let him actually run the ball? Was that kind of a one-time thing because it was a MAC team and you can just kind of get his feet wet a little bit with it, and you knew he wasn't really going to take too many big shots? Are you going to let him do that against Nebraska's defense, who has now seen him take off and run and is going to be expecting it and looking to take a shot at him if he does, knowing what's behind him on the depth chart there? So I'm just curious to see if that's was kind of a one-off or if that's going to be kind of something that Michigan incorporates going forward.
Absolutely.
And if they do let him continue to do that, I think that can be an interesting X factor in this game because we're going to have to evaluate the Michigan offense a little bit differently if they legitimately have that running threat at quarterback. I mean, we know the ceiling now is a guy, again, I get it was a MAC defense, but a guy who's rushed for 100 yards in a game at the quarterback position is no small feat. That is something that you'll have to account for. So that is kind of an interesting subplot to me in this game is what does the Michigan offense do with that?
Yep. So for me, my pick is in. I like Nebraska as the home dog of the week, plus 2.5. Give me the Huskers.
I don't know what to do with this one, man. I've been kind
It's
of leaning
tough.
I've been kind of leaning Nebraska. I picked Nebraska for us in the pick 'em. I think I'm going to go Michigan in this one.
Did you pick Nebraska for us? Because I think all that was a Michigan clean sweep.
Nope, I definitely picked Nebraska for us.
Okay.
Pretty sure
Smart
I did.
man. Smart man.
Did I? Yeah. No, it was not a Michigan. 3 people picked Nebraska.
Nice.
We also got an extra point in that one. I think this is going to be close. I think this is going to be a really good game. I could really see this going either way, but I know we make the jokes about, well, Michigan didn't actually win. They cheated. But I think that this is a team that has guys on it who've experienced it before, who've won in these type of situations before. And I don't know, and I get it, it's year 3. You're not the same team you were last year, but I'm still kind of at that point with Nebraska where I would like to see it before I kind of buy into it. So if it happens this weekend, I would not be shocked. I'm making this with about as low of confidence as I can, but I'll take Nebraska, or Jesus, I'll take Michigan here, even minus the points. Other contender or pretender, which kind of feels funny to say this in hindsight, we had 8 o'clock on Fox Friday night. Iowa is a 2.5-point favorite traveling to Rutgers, Clinton. Are we buying the Rutgers hype? We bought it last year. It burned us. I think we were kind of selling heading into this year. They're now 3-0. Again,
Should be 2-1.
you're leading the MAC right now, so it's not like you've beaten a ton of teams worth. I mean, Ohio's a pretty good team for sure. But the more we were talking about this pre-show, Clinton, I was really feeling Rutgers, and the more I think about it, I think they might lose this game relatively handily.
You were saying that at the beginning of the show. So you start us off then and you tell me if you have a key or what your reasoning at least is for why you think they're going to get smoked.
Yeah, well, not smoked necessarily, but I do like if this is a game that if Iowa wins by double digits, I would not be surprised. Again, I mean, this is another one. If Rutgers shocked them, I wouldn't either because we've seen like the floor of Iowa's offense is not good at all. I think the issue in this one is Rutgers' defense hasn't been fantastic this year. They really struggled with dual threat quarterbacks. Parker Navarro shredded this defense. He threw for 239 yards, 3 touchdowns, was not intercepted. The week after that, he threw 3 picks against West Virginia, just tried to give that game away. He also ran for 93 yards on the ground. A week later, DeQuan Finn had a monster game as well. He did not account for the same level of touchdowns. He only had 1 rushing, did not have 1 passing. But he was 14 of 23 for 251 yards, and he ran for 85 yards on the ground. Clinton, what does Iowa have in this game? They have a mobile quarterback. He's probably not as good of a thrower as Parker Navarro and DeQuan Finn, maybe, at least at the FBS level yet. But they have not defended the run particularly well from the quarterback position. And then a week ago against Norfolk State did average 4.7 yards per carry against them. So not fantastic stopping the run. From an injury standpoint, receiver Ian Strong did not play last week. It sounds like he's, quote, trying, unquote, to play this week. But the quote from Greg Schiano did not sound particularly optimistic. Even if he doesn't, they're okay at the receiver position with Duff and Sheffield. And then also on the injury front, co-starting running back C.J. Campbell and starting offensive tackle Tyler Needham there's a, quote, high level of concern, unquote, that they are not going to be able to play because of the short week. Athan Kaliakmanis has been really good this year, Clinton, but so has Iowa's pass defense. They really kept Rocco Beck in check, and that's kind of been the if we were going to look at one thing on the Iowa schedule as to what would give us confidence heading into this one is their performance against that Iowa State offense. I think they should be able to, as good as the Rutgers offense has been, again, against less than stellar competition, I do think this Iowa defense should have a level of success against Athan Kaliakmanis. And talking about not really believing it until you see it, He's been really good this year. I do need to see him do it against a Power 4 Big Ten opponent before I really start drinking the Kool-Aid with him.
Absolutely. My first key was pick your poison of who do you trust more, the Iowa offense or the Rutgers defense, because both have been kind of booty cheeks so far. Who steps up to make plays needed to win in this game? Heading into my second key. Rutgers defense, as Ryan already mentioned, really struggled with Parker Navarro's legs. So does Iowa try to mobilize Gronowski to spark some offense in this game? We know he's mobile. We know he can move. He struggled a little bit in the pass department. However, we've already seen Rutgers struggle on both sides of that. Mobile quarterback can move. You try to contain and defend that. Now he can hit some passes with you. Iowa also has a very good run game to complement this ability with their running back. So if you've got a rushing attack featuring Gronowski and the backs that they have, could spell trouble. Listen, I feel like this is a low-scoring game. I was a little bit on Rutgers early because it's, again, a home dog getting points. You've got me a little concerned with Strong maybe not playing, and then I'm already blanking on his name, but the left tackle. Offensive line are extremely important, especially when it's your blind side. And you're going against a Phil Parker defense. Iowa stifled Rocco Becht on the road at Iowa State. So what's going to stop him from doing that in this game? I have now wavered my pick, and I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes minus 2.5 on the road. I just think you're right. Kaliakmanis has not proven anything to us yet this year against a Power 4 opponent. He might come out and light the world on fire. Maybe this trio plus Raymond in the backfield is the real deal for Rutgers. And maybe Iowa can't get it going, but it feels like the Hawkeyes found a little bit of juice last week that they can continue to build on this week. And I don't know, like if I have to rely on a team that's going to be causing havoc on defense and making turnovers and the team that is most reliable on special teams, then you got to lean Iowa, right? We know what Ferentz does with special teams and how effective they are with that and changing games. He's going to opt to punt the ball at their 50 on 4th and 2 instead of going for it and pin Kaliakmanis at his 2-yard line and then come at him and attack. So I like the Hawkeyes.
Can't believe this.
What is
You
that?
fool. You just stealing my picks. Let's talk about some non-conference rivalries real quick, Clinton, here before we dig into some conference matchups. 3 o'clock, the fact this game's on Big Ten Network is also ridiculous. Oregon State at Oregon. I think this line opened at 26.5, and it is currently sitting at 34.5. I hesitate to pick Oregon in a wide spread because I kind of got burned by them last week, but Oregon State is bad, man. They have not been particularly good this season. They started the season losing to Cal. That was the Jaron Keave Sagapulatele coming out game. They lost that one 35-15. They lost a week later to Fresno State 36-27. And they lost last week, Clinton, to Texas Tech 45-14.
Boat raced.
Yeah, man. I don't know. This feels like the only reason Oregon doesn't cover this is they don't want to.
Yeah.
Type of game.
But it's a rivalry game, so I think you're going to want to do it. Is it much of a rivalry game anymore now that you're not in the same conference? I don't know. We'll see how long they try to hold on to this rivalry game occurring. These are two teams, and it's only 3 games in so far, trending in the opposite directions. The Ducks have a 130 plus 132 point differential, Ryan, in their 3 games. The Beavers, counting the end of last year, are on a 4-game losing streak. The Ducks have scored 162 points in 2025. The Beavers have allowed 115. Malik Murphy played 3 games, has thrown 5 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
The Ducks are going to dominate the Civil War the way the North did to the South back in the 1800s. I like the Ducks huge in this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be with you here. Oregon State also does not run the ball particularly well. I know there was a lot of hype on Anthony Hankerson coming into the season. He is averaging 3.7 yards per carry and has 1 touchdown through 3 games. And
Gonna
again,
get any better. This is also Oregon's last chance to tune up before Penn State. So maybe that's where it gets us late in the 4th quarter if Oregon pulls their starters and then
Yeah.
the Beavers score, or maybe Lanning wants his starters to play a 4-quarter game to be ready for the scenario against Penn State.
You know, I'm going to be different. I'm going to just take Oregon State to cover, like a backdoor cover or something like that, because you got the look-ahead potential, too, with the whiteout next week.
Oregon State upset, Ryan says.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I think that this is not going to be close for the duration of this game, but then Oregon State scores a dumbass touchdown late to cover it.
I think it really just depends on how much Lanning wants to kill them. He has shown you against Colorado, and then he showed you against Oklahoma State. If he wants to squash you like a bug, he will.
That's true.
So how bad does he want to do it?
That's true. That's fair. No, like I said, the only way that Oregon does not cover this game is they just don't try to.
Yep.
7:30 CBS, Washington, a 20.5-point favorite against Washington State. Clinton, this is another one of those games where I think this is not going to be particularly close. Washington State just got absolutely pasted by North Texas. They gave up 59 points. I think it was 42-10 maybe in the first half. Threw 3 interceptions. Yeah, man, that was just not a close game whatsoever, and I can't find the damn sound.
Lock of the week.
I think Washington is going to, coming off a bye, I think Washington is absolutely going to dominate this game. They're going to continue to work on making statements heading into Big Ten play, flex their muscles, stat pad their guys. Washington big in this one.
You know what Washington State doesn't have this year that they had last year when they beat Washington? John Mateer.
Yeah, true.
So Washington has won the last 4 meetings when they play in Pullman. The Cougars have not posted back-to-back Apple Cup victories since 07-08, when Washington was essentially in the depths of their worst era of college football. Jonah Coleman is going to run wild. He leads the country with 7 rushing touchdowns, and he's played 1 less game. He's only played 2 games.
Wait,
was that 5 last game?
Was that when Ty Willingham was their head coach?
It might possibly have been, yes. Bold prediction
05,
here.
06, 07. Yeah.
I guess
It
it's not
was.
really true bold prediction when he's popping off as much, but I would expect a minimum of 150 yards, 2 TDs for Coleman in this game. Hopefully, Boston can Damon Williams can connect with my guy Denzel Boston in this one, but give me the Huskies easy in this game as they prepare for next week's matchup against the Ohio State Buckeyes.
3:30 NBC Clinton. Will Notre Dame? What?
It's on the cock.
Oh, it's on regular NBC.
No,
it's
Ty and
probably
Dan
also,
said today it's on the cock.
well, it's also on regular NBC.
Cock.
Will you stop saying that? Will Notre Dame finally win a football game, Clinton? They are 0-2. They're still number 24 in the country. Yay. Is Purdue okay? I think they might be a little bit better than last year. Ryan Brown's been pretty good this year. He also
Quick
threw
thought on that. I thought about that on the shitter today. Purdue 2025 played Purdue 2024. I think Purdue 2025 beats them by double digits.
I don't doubt that. Well, which side does Ryan Brown play for in this situation?
You get Ryan Brown 2024 and Ryan Brown 2025.
Oh my goodness, this is too much for
It's
my
the
brain. to
beauty of
process.
madness.
Ryan Brown threw 3 interceptions, I think, last week against USC. He's been okay this year, aside from the 3 interceptions against USC. And again, I get their first 2 games were against really, really bad football teams. But the thing that concerns me for Purdue, or if I'm a Purdue fan in this game, is they still don't run the ball particularly great. Devin Maccabi, however they pronounce his name in the video game. That's probably not right. I mean, he's a fine football player. 4 yards a carry. He's got 3 touchdowns this year. They actually have weapons out wide. Armand Branch has been a fascinating player this year. Nitro Tuggle is really fast.
What a name.
If he can get open against a Notre Dame secondary that couldn't cover anything last week, that is probably going to make me a little more anxious than I want to be. Michael Jackson III, not that Michael Jackson, also having a pretty good season.
No.
I just wonder if this is going to be like last year, where Notre Dame comes into this game pissed off, looking to kill somebody, and that poor Purdue just happens to be in their way. I think I was a little, I think this opened like 27.5, and I think it might be down to 24 now. I wrote it down at 25.5 for us. I think Notre Dame beats the shit out of them in this game.
For future reference, Ryan, I need you to create a Michael Jackson sound. So when Michael
Okay.
Jackson III gets brought up again, we can get a little MJ on the show.
All right.
Preferably Annie. I love that song.
Oh,
All right.
yeah, Smooth Criminal.
Yes. Listen.
Better.
The Irish are going to punish Purdue. I tried to make a joke here to tell you to say that I thought Notre Dame was going to go 0-3. There's about as good of a chance of that as me never eating a chocolate chip cookie again.
Clinton, I will say right now, if Notre Dame loses this football game, I'm not doing the show anymore. You're on your own. I'm not kidding. I'm literally not kidding.
It's not going to happen. Notre Dame's going to punish Purdue. And that's not saying that Purdue is a bad team. I think they're much better than last year already. I do expect them to eclipse 200 yards of offense in this year's game, at least. They had 162 last year. And I think they scored 2 TDs. They only scored 1 last year. My bold prediction for this game is that Love and Price combined for 250 total yards of offense. My only question is, you already mentioned it, will the Irish defense look a little more fluid? But this is my lock of the week.
Lock of the week.
Give me the Irish.
I'm literally not kidding. If they lose this football game, I'm never doing the show again. You're going to have to find a new co-host.
I'll have a lot more.
Adam, Kirk, you guys are going to have to alternate. Sorry, boys. I'm not doing it anymore. Back into conference play. Maybe this isn't as... I just always associate Maryland as an ACC team, so maybe this isn't as weird since they've been in the Big Ten for 10 years. But 12 o'clock, NBC. A lot of network games in this one, Clinton. The 7:30 CBS game is cool. The 12 o'clock game on NBC is cool. But Maryland's at Wisconsin. Wisconsin a 10.5-point favorite in this one, which feels kind of high to me, which, you know what they say about stinky spreads?
No, I don't, because I don't bet.
Oh, well, if it seems weird, then there's probably a reason that somebody knows something you don't. And I truly don't know what to believe now, seeing this spread. Because 10.5 feels like a gift.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me wonder, what is it about Maryland that we aren't seeing that makes people think that Wisconsin is a touchdown better than them on a neutral field?
Maryland can't run the ball.
Okay, fair enough.
That would be my big thing. Therefore, you're going to have Malik Washington throw it a lot and create plays as a true freshman. Whereas the Wisconsin defense, I know they gave up a lot to Alabama, but Alabama's going to score a lot of points on a lot of people. And when your offense can't stay on the field, your defense gets tired. But the Badger defense outside of the Bama game has been pretty good, and they were decent early in the Alabama game. It's going to be a tough test from Malik Washington. That was one of my keys here. Maryland has to have a run game, or the Badgers can just focus all their energy on making life really tough for Malik Washington. I just think, I don't know if I'm sure that Wisconsin can beat someone by double digits at this point. And, our favorite show, The Solid Verbal, what does Dan say? Always say with these lines, what has Wisconsin done to deserve a double-digit line? They haven't. So I like Maryland with the points here. I think Wisconsin wins. They get off the schneid, but I like Maryland with the points here.
Oh, I need a big run here. Go, baby, go. Go, baby, go. Nice. So I'm thinking out loud here. Maryland did not look very good against NIU. They still won the game, but again, they didn't look great against NIU. They beat Florida Atlantic, but they also benefited from 6 interceptions in that game. And Florida Atlantic, since that, they beat Florida A&M, but then they lost to FIU. So not exactly a murderer's row. And then Maryland's other win was against Towson, an FCS team. So
Superstar.
Yes. I'm going to take Wisconsin minus the points here. I don't feel great about it, but I'm trusting that intuition, that stinking feeling that I have that I don't believe the spread should be this high, which means somebody knows some voodoo witchcraft that I don't, and I'm going to trust the person with the voodoo witchcraft against my better judgment. That's terrible analysis, but
yeah,
I do agree with the So, like, if we're breaking down the Maryland offense, it's been very good with Malik Washington, but you talk about their inability to run the ball. That's eventually going to come home to roost and against a Wisconsin defense that if you're one-dimensional against them, I think they can make your life very difficult. As a team, Maryland's only averaging 3.5 yards per carry this year, and if you want to get crazy getting rid of anything sack adjusted, their top 3 running backs, DeJuan Williams, Nolan Ray, and Iverson Howard, between the 3 of them are averaging like 3.7 yards per carry if my math is right here. So not been an impressive ground effort. They do spread the ball out pretty well. They got 4 guys with at least 10 catches already. So interested to see how Wisconsin deals with that defense. But this is I'm also kind of banking on here too. This is kind of danger zone for Wisconsin looking at their schedule. If they lose this game,
Skid Row, baby.
it might be time to start the clock on the Luke Fickell tenure because they might lose their next every game after this, honestly.
Yeah. I don't think they lose it. Like I said, it's too many points for me with Maryland, but I think Wisconsin finds something to wins. It's not – I don't think we have a true answer yet, a quarterback, right?
I think I saw questionable for Billy Edwards.
So
I did not spell Billy Edwards correctly.
Millie Edwards.
He is a game time decision as of 4 hours ago.
There's your shout out, Adam, for Millie. I think you were waiting on us for one of Ryan's mistakes for me to bring it back up.
Who was the other one I said?
Mary Gronowski.
That's right, Mary Gronowski.
That's right. I made up the Millie Edwards. It was Mary Gronowski, so that's my fault. But there's your shout out for Mary Gronowski. All right, on to the spicy one, the late night one. Let's get it.
I need like a sleepy time sound for these games. 11 o'clock Eastern.
We need a snoozing sound.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Clinton. What's more outrageous, this game being played at 11 Eastern or the Texas Tech-Utah game starting at 10 a.m. local time this weekend?
Definitely
to accommodate.
Definitely this game.
You think that over a 10 a.m., it's a fucking breakfast kickoff. It is literally like they're at Utah. The game is kicking off in Utah at 10 a.m.
I'd much rather have earlier football than have to keep my ass up till fucking 2 in the morning to watch.
But at least this is at 8
o'clock.
o'clock. At least this is at 8 o'clock in LA.
I don't care about LA. I care about the East Coast. I don't give a shit about the people on the West Coast.
Oh my Lanta.
I'm an East Coast selfish
East Coast bias.
POS.
East Coast bias. No, making someone kick off a game at 10 o'clock local time is asinine. That's ridiculous. Clinton, if they made Ohio State kick off at 10 o'clock, the fury that you would tweet is unmatched. The meltdown that you would have.
We'll never have that, though, because we live on the East Coast.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
Listen, I already have to deal with never getting a night game, so that's fine enough. Let's get to this game. I'm excited for this game.
Michigan State 3-0 at USC, also 3-0. USC an 18.5 point favorite in this game, Clinton. I don't know if Michigan State wins this game. I think we might be needing to have some. I thought my dog just barked. Nope, she's sleeping.
Ryan may or may not be getting robbed, folks.
No, I think it was just my AC turning on. I'm like, what the fuck was that noise? Or I could be getting robbed. That's fine. If I die, we'd go viral then.
Yes, I will post the clip of you getting shot in the back of the head, if that's allowed. Do I have your permission?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You got it, guy.
Going viral.
I completely lost my train of thought.
You were saying if Michigan State wins this game, we are going to have a talk, and then you went quiet.
About Lincoln Riley. Because USC should win this game. But what Aiden Chiles shows up, because he has had some glimpses this year that make you think that, he is going to turn the corner. And if I know it's Youngstown State, and I mean, there was more a defense thing than an offense thing. Last week he did throw an interception, but they got him involved in the running game, and if they can get him involved in the running game in this one, USC still had some issues tackling with Purdue last week. This one could get interesting and could entice you to stay awake past your bedtime there.
No, it is not going to entice me to stay past my bedtime, other than what we do for our show. You know, the USC offense has been on fire, but they haven't played anybody. However, Michigan State hasn't had a good pass defense since the Mel Tucker 2021 season. What has USC looked really dominant with right now? Pretty much everything, but with Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane out wide, and then Tate McRae and tight end, they are – I'm going to run that all season too. They look pretty tough on offense, and Maeva has been cooking. However, Are we sure they're that good? Because they've played no one. Again, Michigan State at least has a P4 win,
Mm-hmm.
notable over Boston College. They had to fight hard to win that in overtime.
Well,
And the other thing,
technically USC does too, Clinton, if we're still counting Purdue as a P4 team.
that's true. That's true. I think BC at this point in time, based off last year, BC a little more impressive of a win.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Anyways, are we sure USC can even tackle? It's pretty easy to
I
tackle guys who
am
are
still
inferior
not.
to you.
I am still not. They gave up 300 yards passing to Ryan Brown,
Yes.
Clinton.
So, Aiden Childs, he's got an arm, he's got weapons, Veiling, Marsh, etc. I think Michigan State can stress them. Here was my comment earlier before I make my pick. USC's offensive line, can they hold up against a Big Ten opponent? That was our major concern after we talked with Ryan Abraham in our fall preview.
Mm-hmm.
They can hold up well. I know they have the Power Four with Purdue, but I think at this point in time, given all the transfers Purdue had, we're looking at Michigan State that they're a little more settled year 2 under Jonathan Smith. How well does this offensive line hold up? And it's not just this week. They have to do it consistently. And next week being at Illinois with an Illinois defensive line and pass rush that looks much improved to start. I like USC to win this game, but I think Michigan State keeps it within the 18.5. So Michigan State plus 18.5 for me.
A fascinating aspect of this game, Clinton, is going to be that Notre Dame Purdue game. If Notre Dame beats the brakes off Purdue and their offense looks like piss, I might be like all eyes on this game.
Yeah.
Because you go from, oh, well, they just threw for 300 yards against USC to they couldn't complete a forward pass against Notre Dame. Then, ooh, maybe Aiden Childs is going to have himself a big game. But maybe Purdue's just a much better passing team this year. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out together. The thing that worries me about Michigan State here is, again, can you protect the football? Also, can you play a football game that starts at 11:15?
Body clock, man.
In your body clock. We talked about it a lot last year, the time zone thing. This isn't just a time zone thing. This is a time zone thing when you're playing a game at an unnatural time. We saw it maybe a little bit last week with Oregon. They started that game at 9 o'clock a.m. local time, and they weren't particularly sharp early in the game against Northwestern. But is Michigan State going to be awake by the end of the game? That is breathtaking analysis. I know that. I think I'm with you. I think I'm going to take Michigan State to cover. I think Michigan State is better than Purdue, even though this game is at USC, even though this game is at the ass crack of dawn in East Lansing. I think Michigan State can cover 3 touchdowns against USC. So
absolutely,
USC wins, but I'll take Michigan State to cover. Maybe I'll sprinkle a little Michigan State money line just to feel something. I don't know.
Well, speaking of money,
A
look
ahead game for USC, Clint. They do have to go to Illinois last week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now you get to finish with our final segment, Ryan's bets of the week. Time to make some money.
Sometimes you gotta pray for a victory.
This is Inside the Pylon's best bets of the week.
Honestly, at this point, we should just call this segment "Pick the Opposite of What Ryan Says" because he's not winning anything.
Look at Ryan's battle bets picks and pick the other way.
Okay, well, you know what? I finished second in the league last week, so bite me.
Woo!
Reminder, guys, if you are not aware, join our Battle Bets League. That is battlebets.app/ITP. It is a free app to join. You can pick games against the spread. You can pick games money line. You can pick over-unders. You can pick prop bets. Bet against us. Make picks against us through the duration of the season and prove that you know more than us because right now none of you have proven anything because I'm ahead of all of you. Suck it. Join that league. Even if you miss the first week, how the scoring works is you don't necessarily have to be in it every week to get your points. So join that, bet against us. I have gone and made sure that all of these are playable bets in there. So just kind of playing it off of that. First one I have is Tulane plus 12.5 at Ole Miss. Austin Simmons did not play last week. I'm not sure if he's going to play this week, but Tulane has been rolling so far this year. I don't know that they win outright. I think I might have sprinkled a little bit of Tulane money line in the app just because it pays like 7.5 times or something like that. But giving 12.5, I do like Tulane in this one. Jake Retzlaff has been a menace running the football. I do like that as a option against an Ole Miss defense that did not do a particularly great job of defending Taylon Green last week. I have CJ Carr over 1.5 passing touchdowns in this one, whether it's getting the ball to Love out of the backfield again or going to Malachi Fields or Eli Raritan or somebody else. I think he's going to throw at least 2, if not 3, against Purdue this weekend. I have NC State money line against Duke. The Wolfpack have been very good this year. Hollywood Smothers has been fantastic. CJ Bailey has taken a big step forward, and I think Duke's been, even though Darian Mensah's been pretty good, I think Duke's been a little worse than advertised this year. Maybe it's a bounce back game for them back at home after losing to Tulane last week, but I like the Wolfpack. I think they're a sneaky good team right now. And then I have Washington minus 20.5. That's my lock of the week, so we're throwing some coin on that one as well.
I think you guys should take ECU with the points against BYU. Just saying. ECU can score.
There we go. Clinton's best bet of the week. He's getting in on the action. See, Clinton, we are incapable of going for less than an hour.
That's okay. Well,
we just can't
literally 40 seconds over, but
yeah,
I'm excited to reconvene on Saturday night and talk some of these games. This is our first impactful Saturday, man, of Big Ten games, and it only gets better from here. So this is the beauty of covering a conference, because most people don't give a shit about Iowa and Rutgers, but we do, because we love them.
Dude,
we love their fans.
Usually this guy for Buffalo muffed the punt, and he's walking back to the sideline just like shaking the ball.
That's not good.
Just like he's trying to punish it. It's because it's the ball's fault he didn't catch it. Yeah. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us this evening. Once again, as we ramble on about previewing and picks these Big Ten games, we will see you guys on Saturday night after probably the late games. Well, like the 7:30 games. After IU Indiana, we'll say.
My hope is that we can, well, I guess if that's a 7:30 game, we're not going to be on till 11. Never mind. Maybe one of these times we'll get to start at 10:30 again.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
but that's all right.
Yeah, we'll see how the game is. If it's a blowout, maybe we can go early. Yep. But there's some other good games on at night. It's going to be a good quad box on the night slate. So yeah, come join us after IU Illinois live on the YouTube Saturday night. You can watch. Maybe I'll be on the couch watching Michigan State USC. It'll be fun. Thanks everyone. We'll see you Saturday.
Deuces.